believe
in
sex
education.
because the primary source of sex education right now is TV shows, and it would be beneficial for children to learn from their teachers and get accurate information.
because in my experience I didn't have a sex education. It would have been very beneficial to me, my friends, if we learned in a classroom setting. We could also lower STDs and teen pregnancies and other things of that sort.
Because children that are sexually assaulted will be able to help identify where and how they were assaulted when the police question them.
Because I had no sex education in elementary school, and I believe that children can benefit from accurate information on sex education. My sister was a teen mom, so she definitely could have benefited from sex education.
Because I had it in elementary school and kids were more mature about sexual encounters and experimentation when it got to middle school and kids were actually starting to experiment.
Prototype like 3 stacks on that CD. And
my real life experience was finding out that my sister was going to be a teen mom, and I feel like having sex education throughout schools will inform them what having unprotected sex will do, and just informing the kids that you can get pregnant from having sex is important, so they know like what sex does and that sex is horrible.
I agree with Tyler's statement, and going off of what she said, I think it's beneficial to promote sex education while kids are young, because giving them the resources to be mature about their decisions and making sure that they know what they're getting themselves into is a definite preventative measure into reducing the rates of teen pregnancies and the rates of STDs.
And like I said earlier, kids in my middle school who had, we had elementary sex education, and kids were more mature at the middle school level because we had already gone over and discussed things like knowledge.
And going off of that, for someone like me who didn't have that opportunity, it was a lot different because my first introduction to sex education wasn't until 7th grade. And obviously, there were a lot of kids in my school who already experiencing stuff like that. And I think if they would have had a better understanding of it going into it, I think a lot of more protective and preventative measures could have been taken when they were doing that, because I knew a lot of girls and guys that had kids at a younger age than they should have. And I just think that education being implemented at a younger age would definitely lower that number by a huge amount.
And I think on the flip side about that, if you implement it at a younger age, then the elementary school kids are able to learn the names of all the different body parts, and so when on the off chance that they are sexually assaulted, they're able to communicate with the police more effectively and get their offender convicted more easily because they will have the correct language to explain what happened to them.
Okay. I thought it was interesting in our group discussions and such how we all kind of related and agreed on the topic that we should have sex education in elementary schools.
It's interesting that 4/5 of us didn't have like extensive sex education, and how that like affected our lives kind of similarly, and how we all agreed on a controversial topic that was important to have.
Going off of what Kiana said, I think it's interesting that we all, well, most of us, all of us except for Harry, didn't have sex education, yet we're all adamant on like integrating this sex education for elementary school students. It's an interesting viewpoint, because if our whole group is for sex education, then why haven't schools implemented it